Shalom, brothers and sisters, from wherever you're watching us from. I hope you're well. I hope the Lord has been keeping you. I hope you're enjoying actually our episodes. We are super excited that you have found time to be here with us for today's episode. Now, last time we were able to look at the story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife, and of course, that chapter closes by him being in prison. And I was telling you and reminding you about the fact of having God in the equation. And I remember insisting actually that we need to have him. It doesn't matter the situation that we are in, so long as he is part of the situation, or is in our situation, or with us in those situations, then we are assured of emerging victorious. And of course, Joseph is one of the good examples of how God made him successful. Even in his worst moments, the Lord was with him. That is what the Bible records. Now, today we get some time to look at chapter 40, and my Bible has given it a subtitle, The Cupbearer and the Baker. And the Bible records, sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of King of Egypt offended their master. The king of Egypt, Pharaoh, was angry with his two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the captain of guard, and the same prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, and he attended to them. After they had been in custody for some time, each of the two men, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were being held in prison, had a dream the same night, and each dream had a different meaning. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected. He asked the Pharaoh's officials who were with him in custody in the master's house, "Why do you look so sad today?" "We both have had dreams," they answered, "but there is no one to interpret them." Then Joseph said to them, "Does not the interpretation belong to God? Tell me the dreams." So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream, and he said to him, "In my dream I saw a vine in front of me, and on the vine were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, it blossomed, and its cluster it ripened into grapes. The Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, squeezed them into the Pharaoh's cup, and put the cup in his hand." This is what it means. Joseph said to him, "The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you in your position, and you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand, just as you used to do when you were his cupbearer. But when all goes well with you, remember me, show me kindness, mention me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this prison. I was forcibly carried off from the land of Hebrew, and even here I am here. I have done nothing to deserve being put in a dungeon." Then when the chief baker saw that Joseph had given a favorable interpretation, he said to Joseph, "I too had a dream on my head, where 3 baskets of on my head were 3 baskets of bread. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket of my head." This is what the dream means. Joseph said, "The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift you off the head and impale your body on a pole, and the birds will eat away your flesh." Now the 3 days that day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast to all his officials, and he lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker in the presence of his officials. He restored the chief cupbearer in the position so that he once again put the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he impaled the chief bakers just as Joseph had said to them in his interpretation. The chief cupbearer, however, did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. Now, brothers and sisters, what a beautiful chapter. Of course, chapter 40 of this beautiful book of Genesis. You're given the story of these two guys who are officials of Pharaoh, the cupbearer and the chief baker. And of course, they both had dreams. They begin by, of course, doing things which displeased the king, and he sends them into the same prison that this guy Joseph was. And of course, the Bible records that the guard assigned them to Joseph to attend to them, and they come to this guy. And of course, one of the days they had a dream at night, and the next morning they are troubled, and Joseph comes to them and asks them, "Hey, you guys don't look happy. What is happening?" And they say, we had dreams, both of us. And he says, bring them on, or bring it on, And look at what Joseph does actually. He says, it is the Lord actually who interprets the dreams. Actually, the interpretation of the dreams belongs to God. And the chief cupbearer tells Joseph the dream, and he interprets it for him. He tells him, in 3 days you're going to be restored, and of course you'll go back to the service. But also, after the chief baker tells his dream to Joseph, he interprets it and say, whatever the dreams means is, in 3 days Pharaoh will take you and impale you, of course, and your body will be eaten by the birds. And after 3 days, actually, this is what happens. And the Bible records that the chief cupbearer was restored, but he, however, forgot about Joseph, and Joseph is in prison. Now, there's a lesson that I'm learning actually from this beautiful chapter, and this is the lesson of what Joseph does when he notices that these guys had dreams. Of course, we do not see anywhere Joseph interpreting any other dream, but we saw him before dreaming. But he knew that God is able to interpret the dreams, and he knew because he was with the Lord, then the Lord would have given him the capability to interpret the dreams. And see, when these guys actually are bringing these dreams to this guy actually is confident enough that it is God who interprets them, and he interprets the dreams for them. And these guys, of course, exactly what Joseph interpreted to them is what happened. But look at this. Joseph does not take the praises back to him. He does not take actually the glory back to himself. And he acknowledges that it is not him actually who interprets the dreams, but it is God who interprets dreams. And look at it actually. Because it is God who interpreted the dreams came to pass actually in exactly 3 days when Pharaoh had his birthday. And of course, the cupbearer is restored, and the chief baker, of course, the Pharaoh does what actually he had said in his dream. And this is to show how actually God was with Joseph, even in the prison, giving him the capability to interpret dreams for these guys. Actually, this in the later chapters, we will notice that it was one of the breakthroughs that actually came through for Joseph, and he was able actually to be identified because of this capability of him interpreting the dreams. But look at it, guys. He is not anchoring this capability to himself. He is saying that it is the Lord who interprets the dreams. May the Lord help us. I know some of us actually, God has given us different capabilities, but the problem is we do not even acknowledge Him and actually make people to understand that it is Him who does them through us. When Paul actually is writing, actually in the book of Galatians chapter 2 verse 20 says, "It is no longer I who lives, but Christ who lives in me. And the life that I live by faith through Him who died and rose again for me." It is trying to say, everything that you're trying to see me do, it is not me who does them. It is not through my own. It is not through might or any strength of mine, Zechariah writes actually. It is by the Spirit of the Lord. It is by Him that I am able to do whatever I am doing. Some of us actually, God has blessed us to be in great positions. But what do? We always want to get the glory. We always want to get the fame and feel like, it is me who has done it. It is me. It was because of me. But that is not true, brothers and sisters. The wealth that you have, you do not have it because you are so good in looking for money. The money that you think you have, it is not because that you are so good. The skills you think that you have been having, for those of us who God has given us different talents, it is not because actually we practice so hard that we have those kind of things. It is because God has enabled us to have them. And they are His. The Bible says that the earth and all that is in it belongs to Him. And we need to acknowledge this fact every time and in everything that we do. Let us be very careful not to take the glory to ourselves, but always to take glory back to Him who has given us the capability to always actually do things in accordance to Him. May He help us, give us strength, wisdom, and understanding to understand that He has called us actually to do things in accordance to the way He has commanded us. And with all that we have, we belong to Him. And all that we do, actually, all the glory and honor and praises needs to go back to Him. May the Lord help us. May the Lord bless us. May the Lord be with us. I'll see you next time. Shalom.